Hello everybody, welcome back to This Week at MBE. So it's Sunday night here. The CNC, Joey and Scott got everything on changeover. So they're switching the machines over to different projects or different fixturing. So we'll go through everything that's going on though. So we have a pallet of 18-degree conventional cylinder heads, which we make a few different heads out of that. We had a pallet of big 9s come in. So I know it sounds crazy, but we're actually making sure that we're prepared for fall. Because, you know, everything stays busy and we have to stay ahead of it. Okay, so what we do is these are some of the big 9s. There's a whole other pallet of them up there though. We got some 18s in process here. So what we'll do is we'll certainly get op 1 and op 2 done in all of them. So that way they'll have seats and guides in them. All of the basic machine work will be finished so they're ready for porting. That way, because we can get porting done, we can get a set on each machine finished every day. That's not a problem. We can do a set. Luckily, we have the better machine, so we can machine fast. And then, as you can see, we got A460s in inventory. These have already been CNC machined. These are ready for final valve job. So we won't final valve job until we figure out what the application is for, because we won't know exactly what stem size we need for the valve. So we'll do that last. And then you can see we got more billet. So it's a billet 4150 that we made for our wedge cylinder head. So this is for super late models, road racing, things like that, small block Chevy. You'd use this manifold anything from a 350 to a 440, you know, whatever you're doing. Actually, we have a guy building a big 450 or something for road racing. So, and it will have a 4150 like this, not the big Dominator one. And then we have some more eye candy here. These are spacers for the big 9. So if the guys go from a 10.4 to a 10.7 deck, all we do is bolt the spacer on, and it's identical to the manifold, so you can't even see it. And it's all pretty. So these are ready to go. And then, oops, get that backwards. And then let's come through here. And then just some billet stuff going on inventory. So this right here for Matt Dahl, we're doing a project for him. So what we're doing is we put a ton of development in our new NA billet cylinder head for the porting on the Chevrolet and the Ford. So what we're doing is we're taking as much of that and trying to fit it into this casting, because as everyone knows, there are some rules that you can't use a billet cylinder head. So we're going to be able to take advantage of all of that we've done on the billet, but put it in this cast cylinder head. And we can look in here. Bob's been working on it already. So this is a model cylinder. This is the model port. So what we've done is we've got the intake port to fit in it. We got the chamber to fit. We got the spark plug in it. We had to move the spark plug a little bit to clear everything, because the billet head cast, everything's different. So we have to move all of that. Scott was able to move some of this in the CAD, line the water jacket up, which is nice when you work with somebody like John at CID and he supplies you with the water core. We can put it in the CAD and we can see where the water is at, and that is a huge advantage for us. And so we'll get through here and then we'll double check everything. Everything will be sonic checked. We can do that very quickly, surprisingly. So we'll sonic check. We'll know how thin or thick it is everywhere. So that's an 8-degree valve angle right here for NA. It's an oval port, super fast. The port is super fast. Anyways, it's really good. That thing flows 500 CFM. That is a real number, 500 with the manifold on it. So that is a badass piece, and the exhaust is well over 300. We've got a lot of time in that. And you can see we got our prototype stuff going on here. We got a big 9 manifold. As everybody knows, like, not everybody can afford, you know, the billet. And that's fine. We don't mind. It's not a big deal. The nice part is if you ever want to do the billet after you do the cast, you can. We can still do that. It's not an issue. 10 years from now, if you want to do that, we can do it. So, as you can see, 17.5 pounds versus, well, this one's about 40 right now. And when it's finished, this one will be 35 pounds. So basically, it's half the weight to go to the billet. The valley trace probably 1.5 pounds, not a whole lot. But we can do it either way. So just so everybody knows, we understand the money difference on everything. It's okay. We keep these in inventory. So this project came in, which is great. The guys are really good at moving things and communicating with each other to keep things going. Ian's doing a great job on that, keeping everything moving through the shop, working with Joey and Scott and everything. So the heads are already finished. So we just got a deposit on this probably 2 weeks ago. The heads are finished, we're just waiting on the parts. So everything will be finished, just waiting on the parts to show up. A lot of the parts we have in inventory, we're trying to inventory more and more and more so we can get things out very, very quickly for you. And we have our prototype project there, which we don't need to talk about that quite yet. We're not ready. You can see we laid out a manifold right here. So we got it all laid out. Now we'll port the manifold. We'll probably have this manifold done early next week. Well, I would say it'll probably be done Wednesday or Thursday. But this job is coming right along. We actually had to open up the ports for the manifold a little bit. So we had to match port the cylinder head to make it fit the manifold because the manifold was very large. And this way we didn't have to weld on the manifold. It was just much easier, just moves this a little bit here and there. All right, and then... All right, so let's move on. That's why Bob's got the billet head here. We had to do a new exhaust port because, as you can see, the flange angle is completely different. The height's just a little bit different from the billet on the exhaust port. So Scott ran the intake port and the chamber, and then of course the guides and spring pockets and everything. And from here, Bob is finishing up the exhaust port so it will fit in this casting because the other one will not fit in this. All right, so let's come over here, Mr. Biggs. And this is part of the prototype project here, so might give you an idea of some of the things that we're working on. That's a new casting we're working on, but you can get an idea. That is a lot of valve area. So this is going to be for big cubic inch, things like that, and we'll talk about it more later. But so it's just got the flow fixture on here, so the development's going back and forth, back and forth. And then we'll come over here. Oh, we got a set of SC1s right here. So this is the MBE SC1s. You can see the logo on the end. So these were here for repair. And so these are ready to ship. They'll have them in boxes. You can see we have weld and stuff in here. We felt using the SC1 casting, the one thing it didn't have very good line of sight at all. And what we call line of sight, where you can look through here and see the intake valve. So the reason what we did, we welded this so we could knock short turn out of it to give it some line of sight to help it run. So just like everything we do here, we try to look at everything. Where's the advantage at? Where's the advantage at? Well, if we weld this and we take a little bit extra time in here, it'll run better on the track, it'll make more power, it'll flow more air, things like that. So all that's been done on these. So this guy's been running these for a while now. You can see this is a power adder. He's got the soft chamber in it, figure 8 O-ring, and they wanted the intake flange O-ring. So we had done that in the past. These are a few years old. It's in here for service. You can see here he's got 2 different lifts on the intake and exhaust. So we're always trying to refine everything. So it has an intake. The intake spring is different than the exhaust, just to refine everything. And really, it's kind of a good idea because this way he has 8 spares of each, which you should always have some spare valve springs and spare valves. I wish people would order 10 valves, but they only want to order 8 sometimes. And the reason why I say that is because if you do have something mess up, a rocker breaks, whatever, just something happens, you could lose the whole summer of racing waiting on a valve for 10 to 12 weeks because you didn't want to spend an extra $100. So just think about that, everyone. And you can see everything here is just waiting for parts, so no big deal here. And stuff's going quicker and quicker. And then let's come in here, Mr. Biggs. Okay, this is for Tim Shorley. This is a whole 18-degree max package right here. So all this stuff is finished and ready to go. I'm not sure if this is the 18 or the new 20. I think this is the 18, but we do have a new 20 in the same casting. But this is all ready to go. Manifold is finished. So this is in here for final clean, and then we'll just wait on some of the parts to assemble it. We may have all the parts for this, I'm not sure. So this is a set of Brad Anderson heads. So we do service some of this Hemi stuff. Probably the main reason is because sometimes the guys don't want to ship it all the way to California. Certainly not because of the workmanship, because Brad Anderson guys can do excellent work. We all know that. And then, so this is a set. We're in here for repair. So you can see when they're final clean, these are going to look really, really nice. Some of the differences you see the color of the seats. That's the brass material. You know, we don't use the brass material here. We do use the real copper beryllium just to try and help because it will make the intake valves last longer. And I think that's just about it, Mr. Biggs. So thank you, everybody. Thanks for joining us for this week at MBE, and everybody have a great week.